Welcome to Small College Conversations presented by Blue Frame Technology. Small College Conversations is a monthly video series brought to you by the business of small college athletics. My name is John Hartwell of Hartwell Studio Works, and I'm joined today by Kristofer Schnatz, the Director of Physical Education and Athletics at the United States Merchant Marine Academy. Chris, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, Chris, let's start with a broad question here on Small College Conversations. How did you get started in the sports industry, and what led you to this current position at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks again for having me. And it's been a fun journey so far. And it really started back in college. I played college basketball at SUNY Maritime College, and it took me 4.5 years to finish school. So during that second semester, or that last semester, it was the first time that I really didn't have I had all this extra time because I didn't have basketball. So I decided to help out with the maritime team because I was there the previous 4 years. And my dad, who is also a JV high school basketball coach, not too far from where I went to college, would allow me to come back and help him from time to time in practices. And this one time I just decided to travel to a road game with him. My dad coached for about 30 years at the high school level. I never remember him having issues with referees and officials. The first time I was on the bench with him, he not only managed to get one technical, but he received 2 technicals late in the second half. The JV basketball team, there is no staff. It's me and my dad. He has to leave the game. I don't even know these kids' names. And I had to finish out the game and had a good time doing it. We obviously lost the game. But he came to me right after that game and said, the league rule is now I was ejected. We have a game in 2 days. You have to come back and coach the next game. I said, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. So I drove back out. It was on a Saturday, and we went to the next game, and I coached this game. And again, I still do not know their names. I don't know their plays. I don't know their defense. But I am passionately coaching up these kids. Again, we lose, but I caught the bug right there, and I knew from that day forward that coaching has to somehow be part of my life. I was about to graduate college. I was about to get into the maritime industry, but I needed to pursue this coaching thing that was just in my head and in my bones, really. And that wasn't foreign to me. Every coach I had to that point was a part-time coach. My high school coaches, my college coaches were even part-time coaches. So that's what I did. I pursued a career in the maritime industry. I eventually landed a casino boat, first mate and eventually captain position off of Lake Michigan in Northwest Indiana. And I started to pursue part-time coaching at the middle school, high school level, and eventually the college level. And there was a small school in Westville, Indiana, Purdue University, North Central, which is a small NAIA school. Coach Grayling Gordon gave me my first opportunity to volunteer as an assistant basketball coach, and spent 4 years with him on his staff. And we did a pretty good job. We built that program up. We had a second place conference finish, and we did good enough where Coach Gordon got that next opportunity, which left an opening for a part-time head coach at Purdue North Central. And the AD at the time, John Weber, who I could never thank enough, decided to take a chance on a 31-year-old, no experience, no head coach experience, guy that just had a passion for the game. And he gave me the shot to be a head coach at 31. And I did that while I was still the captain of the casino boat. So I would work nights, 5 at night to 5 in the morning. And then I would spend my day coaching. Managed to get all the game days off. I figured it out and never looked back. In 2011-12, the casino boat industry kind of dried up a little bit for the maritime crew and decided that they didn't need the crew anymore. So at that time, my wife and I, had some big conversations, and we decided that this was the opportunity to pursue college athletics in a full-time capacity. If we're ever going to do this, now's the time to do it. And I started to pursue different opportunities, and Indiana University Northwest, another Northwest Indiana school, NAIA program, small program, 75 athletes, decided to take a chance on me as an athletic director. And I did that for about 4 years there. I also coached there for 2 years when we had a coaching change and we had to fix some things internally. And then it came full circle. Maritime College, my alma mater, the AD position opened up, and I had an opportunity to pursue that. So going from an NAIA school with 75 athletes and 6 teams to an NCAA Division III school with football, 400 athletes, 16 varsity teams. We made the difficult decision to move from Northwest Indiana back to the Bronx, New York, with my 3 girls, which was an eye-opening experience. But I was there for about 3 years. I loved every single second of it. I really enjoyed my time there. I learned so much. And I really thought I was going to be there for a long time. And just under 3 years in, United States Merchant Marine Academy athletic director job opened up. And with the background in the maritime industry, my management experience, my coaching experience, and now my athletic administration experience, I felt that this could be a really good fit. And in my opinion, this is a destination job at a Division III school. It's a place that I can really see myself here for a long time. Great school district for my girls. So we pursued that, and the administration here decided I was the right guy. I've been here a little over a year now. It's been a tremendous year, a little crazy year, but it's just been an absolute perfect fit for me and my family and for what I want to do in my career.
That's a really great story, and I love how it's all so tightly wound together around those pillars of the maritime industry, athletics, coaching, and it all just came together in that current gig. Now, as a Federal Service Academy, though, I know that there are some nuances at the Merchant Marine Academy that are perhaps different than an NCAA or an NAIA school. Can you talk about some of those nuances and differences a little bit?
Yes, many of which they don't tell you to after you accept the job here. But one of those I did know going in, which is different than any place I've ever been, is our athletic department is not permitted to fundraise. And as an athletic director, that's different, right? Now, the Kings Point alums are incredible in their giving, and they support the athletic program in such a positive way. That the Alumni Association, led by Jim Tobin, they do a tremendous job supporting us, and we couldn't do half of the things we do without them. So the support is there, but it's not coming directly, it's not a relationship directly with the athletic department. And so we cannot do fundraisers. We cannot do golf outings. I cannot go get sponsorships. I can't sell tickets to games. It's a really different experience. It's really a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because I know athletic directors that only fundraise. That's all they do. And I don't have to spend time on that. I get to spend time on so many different aspects of my job, which I really, really love. But then you miss an opportunity to build relationships with certain alums and your community outside the gates, and trying to tie in local businesses and things like that. We just don't have that opportunity. So we kind of miss out on that. So that's one. The second biggest one here, specifically at the Merchant Marine Academy, is we have a thing that we call Sea Year. Our students, every one of our midshipmen, have to spend 12 months at sea before they can graduate aboard an industry vessel. So to give you a little bit of an example, we have sea splits. We call them sea splits based around your athletic schedule, whatever team that you're a part of. Again, we have about 1,000 students here, a little over 400, close to 500 are athletes. So it's a really important piece of what we do. But to give you an example, if you're all the freshmen are here, we call plebes, fourth class, they're here all year long. The next year, if you're a football player, you're here for your first trimester. We have 3 trimesters. First trimester, you're here, you play football, you go to school. After that, you're catching a ship somewhere, anywhere across the world. And you're out for about 4 months before you come back to campus. Then you have to reacclimate to campus. The summer goes by, you come back for football. Right after football, you're gone for 8 months. And we don't see you again until football season. So you talk about nuances and differences here. Our midshipmen have to find a way to stay motivated, stay connected. They have to find a way to continue to develop in their sport, to stay in shape. It's not always possible to stay in shape when you're aboard a vessel. It really depends, what vessel you're on. So there's a lot of different things that go into the development of our student athletes here. And ultimately, we know what we're here for. We're here to support the student through their academic experience and their sea year experience, and to develop them as leaders. And I think our students grow up very, very quickly because they have to do a lot on their own, and they have to be responsible for themselves and then eventually to their team. So those are two big ones that I think not too many people know about the United States Merchant Marine Academy and what the inner workings is that goes on here behind our gate.
Yeah, those are really interesting differences that I think that I'm sure make the job, to your point, both it's the best part of the job, and it's like whoa, hold on, how do I deal with this? So that's a really interesting challenge, I think. You talked about, obviously, that you were also a coach. And I know that for some folks, there's a discussion about, should your AD have coaching experience? Should they not? Does it matter? Talk a little bit about that. What do you miss the most about coaching, and how does that experience as a coach influence the work that you now do as an athletic director?
Yeah, sure. I do miss, coaching every day. As an athletic director, you are a little bit removed from the student athlete experience, a little bit. I'm not in the locker rooms, much less bus rides, which I'm not. That's not too bad. That's okay. I don't have to go on the bus all the time, but you're not in all those practices and huddles. But I love working with the athletes and competing on a daily basis. So that part I really, really do miss. But as a coach, after several years of trying to just early in my career, just trying to win games, just trying to figure out how to win, I really figured out what it meant to be a coach. And I developed what I call my coaching, my coaching philosophy, I guess, for lack of a better term, but pretty simple. 3 things: work hard, make good decisions, and build relationships. And I really started to focus on that later in my coaching career. And in turn, we had much more success on the floor and in competition. But at the surface, those are pretty simple. Those 3 things are really simple, but when you dig into them, it's not always easy to accomplish. So when I transitioned to an athletic director, I kind of took those with me, and I went from a coaching philosophy to now my leadership philosophy. To just give you an example, working hard, to me, that's focusing on continuous improvement. We can't just do the minimum. People that are hard workers exceed expectations over and over again. So, it's an effort every day to come with energy and enthusiasm and to do that on a regular basis. So I try to encourage that with our coaches. Making good decisions, it really requires people to prepare, care, and communicate. So, you have to see the big picture as an athletic director. Now I'm not responsible for one team. I'm responsible for 19 teams. It's not 15 athletes. It's 400 plus athletes. So making good decisions to allow your program to grow and thrive. It's not always the best decision for every single team or coach, but I'm trying to make decisions based on the overall athletic department. So that's a little shift in my focus coming from a coach to an AD. And then finally, building relationships, something that I really didn't understand early in my career. Like I said, you really have to be intentional and willing to put yourself out there, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, unfamiliar situations, to build relationships. As a coach, it's easy to do that with your players because you're with them every day, many, many hours a week. As an administrator, sometimes there's not always somebody in your building to lean on. You have to go out and find another athletic director that's going through it. So you might have to pick up the phone and call somebody that you either never met or met once. And you're going to ask them a pretty serious question or tell them about a situation. And unless you have the courage to do that, you're alone. So I really feel like building relationships is something that I learned later in my career that it really helped me thrive as an athletic director. And I think it's the reason why I was able to go from Indiana University Northwest, a small school, to a bigger school at Maritime College, and then now here at what I call, like I said, a destination job at the United States Merchant Marine Academy.
So I think that's a good segue into my next question here, which is that, successful ADs really need to develop a number of different skills. It's not just about the coaching. It's not just about being a motivator, but it's a number of skills that you have to develop in order to be effective. Yeah. Kind of unpacking what you just talked about, what would you say are maybe 1 or 2 kind of outside the box skills that you think that aspiring ADs should be sure to develop?
Yeah. Again, I don't know if it's outside the box. I'll lean on networking and building relationships again just a little bit more, because I found that this is a skill that you really have to develop. Not everybody just has that skill. So this was outside the box for me. I really had to go outside of myself and build up courage. And go beyond the campus community, and you have to attend workshops and conventions, and then not only attend them, but then you have to find a way to participate in them, right? So raising your hand for the first time, or asking a question, or going up to a group of other administrators that are talking together and trying to break into the conversation. So those situations for me was outside the box thinking, and nobody told me I had to do that. I kind of figured it out. Like, if I'm going to advance here, I have to do what they're doing. I got to find out what's going on at their school. So that was one thing. And then additionally, I think you have to think about your campus. You cannot live in the athletic bubble as an athletic director or even a coach on your own campus. I understand that our athletic program is here to enhance the experience of our student athletes. They're here pursuing a degree and eventually a profession in the maritime industry. So we have to create an environment that develops leadership skills through competition, and we want to provide them with the best experience possible. But this is not the only thing they're doing while they're on campus. So if I just live in my athletic bubble, I isolate our athletes and our coaching staff. I go the other way, almost to a fault, where I want to be involved in everything on campus. I want our athletes everywhere. I want our coaches involved in committees and going to different events that are happening on campus that are not athletic related. This being able to do that allows me to do what I love, which is being around athletes and competitors and invite other people into our world. But we have to go out there and find them.
So with that idea of developing those skills that you perhaps weren't necessarily entirely familiar with, what are some of the approaches that you've taken over the years to grow professionally as an AD overall with those skills and in other ways?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, the two things that I think are extremely important as an athletic director and even a coach, and everything I do, I always look at it from a coaching perspective first, because I am a coach first and now I'm an administrator. So I always kind of, look at it that way. But I try to be available. I really try to be available. I'm in the office. I'm at games. I try to get to road games. I attend every single event that I can. I'm so lucky to have a wife and a family that understands, that supports me, number one, but understands that I'm doing what I love. And if we have practices, if we have games, I'm going to be there. I live on campus. I think I've talked to you about this before. I live on campus, and I can't sit at home and turn the TV on knowing that there's a game going on or even a practice. I got to do a walkthrough. I got to see what's going on. So I'll spend extra hours out there just being available so that the coaches can come to me when they need to, athletes can come to me when they need to. And I think that's really important as a leader in an athletics department to be there for your staff and your team and everybody else that may need you at any time. And then the second thing I think is even easier. I think you have to try to attend conferences and workshops and conventions like BOSCA, where one of the first things I did at Indiana University Northwest, I didn't have a budget. I knew about it. I was in the NAI. I knew what was going on, but I could never get there. So one of the first things I did when I got to Maritime College is I saw I had a little bit of a budget, and I said, okay, I'm going to register I'm getting a ticket to Oklahoma City, and we're going to go to BOSCA next year. And I did that. And I met Jim Abbott, and I met a few other administrators, and we had some great conversations. And Jim asked me to come back the following year and participate in one of the 5 ideas. I got like 3 or 4 minutes up in front of the group, and I got to talk about an idea I had. And that opened the door even more. So it just, going to those things and not only showing up, but participating in it, whether you're a speaker or you're just asking questions or going to breakfast or lunch with other people. Those kind of situations have paid dividends for me professionally. And it's part of the reason where that I'm here, sitting here today.
So speaking of the Business of Small College Athletics workshop, you've been in the past, I've been in the past. Other small college administrators are aware of it. And as you said, you knew of it, but you couldn't get to it right away. What would you say to other small college administrators about BOSCA and coming to Oklahoma City for this event?
The first thing I would say is go, go, go. You have to go. You have to spend time there. It's such an intimate setting. You feel like one of the family right away. Jim does a tremendous job figuring out how to get everybody involved, even if you don't want to. He's going to find a way, and he's going to find an opportunity for you, whether it's with the after hours parties or the get-togethers or the socials, or if it's the actual, sessions that are going on. He's going to find a way to get a hold of you. And then, it's what you make of it. Luckily for me, that was a time in my career where I understood the value of networking and building relationships. And I was intentional. I went there with a purpose to meet new people, find out what other schools are doing. At that time for Maritime, I had to find a way to fundraise money, so it was perfect. And I took pieces of every single session I heard, and I was able to build a fundraising approach tied to an alumni approach. We really started to pick up steam before I left Maritime College, which, again, it's always tough to leave your alma mater. It was a really hard decision. I'm at a rival school in the same conference, so that doesn't always go over well. But, I am forever grateful to Maritime College. It gave me my undergraduate experience. It gave me what I think is a second experience as an administrator to really grow professionally. And again, it's one of the reasons why I'm here right now. And BOSCA played a tremendous role in that. When I was interviewing for this position, I believe I called Jim Abbott, 2 times during the few months that I was interviewing to talk about things and bounce things off of him, in addition to other people that I met throughout my BOSCA experience.
So let's shift a little bit, and for our last question here, let's talk some current events. It's kind of unavoidable to not mention the coronavirus pandemic. So with all of the uncertainty and the anxiety that the pandemic has caused small college athletics, we've just finished out 2020. What do you see as some of the most important lessons from that past year and all of the uncertainty and anxiety that it created? And what do you see as important as you look forward and prepare for this new year, 2021?
Yeah, so more than anything, I think it reinforces what I said earlier, is you have to be available and be willing to do more. I just spoke to our staff just yesterday in our staff meeting, and I flat out told them, I said, I am worried about the habits that we've been creating since March of last year. We need to be grateful that we have this wonderful opportunity to maintain our jobs and maintain our positions throughout this pandemic and throughout this crisis. But let's not lose focus on what we're doing. Let's not lose focus on the passion that we have. So just because you're working from home doesn't mean you should be less available or not willing to do more. Find a way to do more. So we're currently trying to work through some of those challenges right now, because it is hard. All of our coaches here teach. We teach basic swimming, aquatic survival. Try teaching that from a Zoom situation. Those are 2 tough ones. First aid and medical care provider. So a lot of difficult, difficult stuff to learn over Zoom when you're not. It's really physically demanding things that you're supposed to be doing in person. So it's hard to stay motivated during that time as an instructor and a coach. But I'm trying to push them to create new ways to be creative and keep that enthusiasm up and remember what it is we're doing. And then, one last lesson I learned is, we were lucky last fall to actually get a few games in. One of the few schools in the Northeast that was actually able to play a few games. We played a few soccer, a few volleyball, cross country, and we actually got 1 football game in here in the Northeast. And when I tell you, our student athletes were so excited just to compete once, just to see how they approached that. 3 months of practice to play 1 game, and they stayed focused and they stayed sharp and they stayed involved. It really reminded me of again, why we're here. Find a way to keep us competing. So as an AD right now, going through this and looking ahead into 21 and trying to get some winter games in and hopefully a spring schedule, and really looking ahead even to next fall, trying to just find a way to keep our programs competing because it's so important to our student athletes' experience, and it's so important to the individual development as a leader. That's why we're here. I know that's why we're here at the United States Merchant Marine Academy. We are here to build leaders, and the skills that they learn in competition directly carry over to their profession later on. So just trying to keep that in mind as we keep moving forward. It's it's tough times and challenging. And some days you don't want to get out of bed, and some days you don't want to leave your couch. And, I'm just trying to encourage our coaching staff and the people around me to show up every day and just try to do a little bit more each and every day. So that's where our focus is right now.
Sure, that is all great stuff. So, Chris, thank you so much for taking part in this small college conversation, taking the time out of your day, and thanks also to Blue Frame Technology for their partnership of this video series. For more information on the business of small college athletics, check out the website at smallcollegeathletics.com. Thanks for watching, and we will look forward to seeing you on the next Small College Conversations.